the Winner Circle podcast with me, Ray Diggs. We are here and we ain't going nowhere. Make sure y'all tune in because we're about to go live now. Peace. Hey, what it do, Sports Well, and welcome to the Winner Circle podcast, man, with me, Ray Diggs, man. I got to get this one out the way. Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders just finished up his rookie season, and a lot of people have been asking me, what grade do I give him? Okay, now, don't take this personal. This ain't nothing but this right here. I'm not a personal person. This is just facts. Shedeur Sanders finished the season with 1,289 passing yards. He had 7 touchdowns. He had 10 interceptions. Shedeur Sanders was probably sacked maybe 15 to 20 times this season. A lot of people say that was the offensive line. That right there, I can easily say a lot of those sacks was on Shedeur Sanders holding the ball too long, not being able to read a defense. So a lot of people say that they give him a C plus. If you give a person a C plus for having 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, you had more interceptions than you had touchdowns, and you had a passer rate 68. I mean, that ain't bad. Well, that's a passer rating. The percentage, he was like in the 50s. So he was like 59% from his percentage. So it's right. I don't want to give the kid an F. So I would give him a D minus for this season. Now, when you look at, and a lot of people right here was crying about Dylan Gabriel. A lot of people say Dylan Gabriel is a better quarterback. I mean, a lot of people say Shedeur Sanders is a better quarterback, easily better than Dylan Gabriel. I mean, the stats says something different. Dylan Gabriel threw for 937 yards. He has 7 touchdowns. He only had 2 interceptions. He had an 81% passer rating. And I think this kid right here threw for I think his percentage was like 60, 70, something like that. So clearly Dylan Gabriel had a better, I give this kid right here probably a C plus, between a C plus and a B minus for this season right here, especially being a Browns quarterback. I'll give the kid a B minus for this season because he had more passing touchdowns than he had interceptions, a better passer rating, and he also almost had 1,000 yards. Was they winning games? No, they wasn't winning games because the teams that they were playing against, like they wasn't going to beat a healthy Pittsburgh Steelers team. I don't think Shedeur Sanders and them would have beat a healthy Pittsburgh Steelers team. Because if you go back to the Pittsburgh Steelers game, that when Shedeur Sanders, when they beat them at the end of the season, they was missing their best pass rusher. Clearly, you see what type of impact that TJ Watts brings to a team, to his team. If they had TJ Watts, you're not going to tell me that Shedeur wouldn't have been running for his life all game. So that gave him an advantage by not having TJ Watts. Also, they did not have their. So this is just tell you how the game against the Browns, the Steelers was missing their best defensive player and their best offensive player because they was missing their best wide receiver as well. So you telling me that you lose a game with your best offense and defensive player in a game where the offense really didn't do absolutely nothing. So a lot of people. This is what I don't like about Shedeur fans, and I said they remind me of Angel Reese fans. They kind of remind me of Angel Reese mixed with a little bit of Caitlin Clark, because they use the stats to make their argument on what, like, if it's something that they want to make their argument about, they'll use stats for that. But then if it's something like, okay, his stats not good, but then they won the game though. No, that's not the way we do it. Stats is stats. If you play bad, but your team win, okay, cool. Yeah, y'all won, but you play bad though. Like, because when you win, because when you play good and lose, that's exactly what they're gonna say. Let's just say against Tennessee Titans. Okay, they play good. I mean, not Tennessee Titans, the Las Vegas Raiders. He come out there and throw for 364 yards. Guess what? They lost the game. And guess what? Y'all used that. No, I think they might have won that game now. I think they might have won again. They might have did lose. But it was one game that he played okay and they lost. And then they was like, well, he played good. Yeah, I think it was Tennessee Titans. I think it might have was the Tennessee Titans that he threw for that 300 yards and they lost the game. And everybody was like, well, he played good. Okay, use that same energy when he loses. But I mean, when I look at his stats, like I said, it ain't nothing to be, it ain't nothing to be happy about. These stats are basic These are terrible stats. He threw 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Yeah. And I think people say that he's better than, I think people say that he's better than Dylan Gabriel. He might be is better than Dylan Gabriel. He probably is. I mean, a lot of people ain't saying Dylan Gabriel is the best quarterback. He just got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. So that's why they compare the two. But I will say this, when you look at stats, numbers, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Their numbers, if you look at their numbers, Dylan Gabriel had a better rookie season than Shedeur Sanders. So from in my point of view, is that's why I gave him a D minus. And I gave Dylan Gabriel possibly, I had to give him maybe a C plus to a B minus. Like I said, and you can say that games. Oh yeah, the reason why I gave him these stats, this grade, is because they won games. But if you look at that last game when they played against who they played against, the Cincinnati Bengals, their offense did not score nothing but 6 points. Their defense scored 14 points in that game. But I understand that I'm not gonna hold that against them because defense is a part of a team. But if you want to be technical about it, he played terrible, and even in that game against a Bengals defense that ain't that good. So when we talk about these players, right? When we talk about this player, you have to be fair. Stop being delusional and just be honest with yourself. Do you all see a franchise quarterback this season in Shedeur Sanders? That's what you need to ask yourself. In my opinion, I didn't see it. I didn't see a franchise quarterback. Now, last season when I watched Drake May play, and you can say Drake May play, his stats wasn't bad, but they wasn't good either. I think he had like 15 touchdowns. But you saw how good this kid can be if you put weapons around him. Like, he knew how to read a defense, and he had one of the worst offensive lines. To be real with you, if you go back and y'all go back, and I think some of y'all need to go back and watch these games. The Cleveland Browns offensive line was bad, but their offensive line wasn't the worst offensive line in football. Go to Tennessee and watch Tennessee offensive line. So I think that honestly, if you go back and watch and you can see, okay, their offensive line was bad, but a lot of this was on him. A lot of this because he held the ball too long. And I think that when you all wants to hold somebody accountable, that's what you have to do. You have to tell, hey, listen, Tom Brady didn't get a lot because Tom Brady got the ball out of his hands fast. So he's going to have to figure that out in the all season. And I keep telling everybody this. You can go into next season. It don't matter if you fire your head coach. It doesn't matter what you do. The Cleveland Browns are always going to be the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns ain't never had a good quarterback. So what makes you think that he's going to be good? If you a generational talent, they thought that Tim Couch was a generational talent when he got drafted by the Browns. And guess what? Within about 5 or 6 years, man, that dude right there was he was damn near out of the league, if not out of the league. The Cleveland Browns is the type of team that will ruin your entire life, especially for a quarterback. So you all can make the excuses, especially unless you just a generational talent. Now, I think a quarterback like Peyton Manning would have came and they would have surrounded him with weapons. He would have been good with the Browns. He would have, but a lot of these quarterbacks are just not generational talents. Do anybody think Shedeur Sanders is generational? Do you all think that he's like Trevor Lawrence? Y'all think that he was like Andrew Luck? No, nobody viewed him like that. And these stats, if you tell me these stats right here, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 68 for a 5th round draft pick, man, nobody's complaining. Nobody's saying, hey, everybody's probably saying, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do as a 5th round pick. The reason I'm saying this right here, right now, is because his fans said that he should have been the number 3 player at best, or at least a top 5 draft pick in last year in the last draft. That's why I'm saying that I did not see a 2nd or 3rd quarterback taken in this draft last season. I did not see it. I did not see him being on Cam Ward level. I think that Cam Ward was clearly the better quarterback. And then Tyler Stuck, the kid from New Orleans, was probably the 2nd best quarterback in this draft. So I think that honestly, I'm not saying that Dylan Gabriel should have went in the 3rd round or Jalen Milroe went in the 4th round. And Shedeur Sanders, do I think Shedeur Sanders is better than Jalen Milroe? I don't know, because I didn't get a chance to see Jalen Milroe play, because Jalen Milroe is backing up a quarterback that his team got 1st round bye. Dylan Gabriel, we saw them. I really didn't even see Shedeur Sanders really separate himself from Dylan Gabriel. And if you say that you've seen it, I want you to show me the film. The only thing that I saw that he did better than Dylan Gabriel was he do have a deep pass. He can throw it deep. He can stretch the defense. But guess what? Tom Brady had just enough arm power to make defenses respect him. He did not have the strongest arm. Yeah, he can throw it deep, but he ain't had the strongest arm. So can Dylan Gabriel be successful? Y'all keep saying that, oh, Shedeur Sanders didn't get enough. He didn't get enough reps. Dylan Gabriel didn't get enough reps either because Joe Flacco was getting all the reps. If y'all remember, Joe Flacco was the starting quarterback. He was getting all the reps. So y'all saying that Dylan Gabriel got through into the fire just like Shedeur Sanders got through into the fire. And at the end of the day, if a quarterback comes in, nobody cares because you didn't get reps. The only people that cares is your fans. We don't care because once you get out there on that field, you need to be performing. Just like when Malik Willis came into the game for the Green Bay Packers, guess what? He was prepared and he took care of business. You have to be prepared. It ain't nobody gonna make no excuse and say, well, he didn't get no reps though. So no, that's not the way sports work. It's the next man up mentality. Do y'all think that Nick Saban give a damn because his starting quarterback did not get no reps when he put in Tua Tagovailoa for Jalen Hurts? No, he knew that he needed to make a change. So he knew, he said, okay, I think that Tua needs to be ready. When he put Tua in, Tua was a little rusty at first. But guess what? When Tua got his foot wet, he dominated the game and they won the national championship. That is called being prepared, being ready when your number is called. That's the way sports work. Everybody knows it. So don't make an excuse when it's somebody that you like, when in reality, this is real life. Everybody know when your number is called, you need to be prepared. And that's all I had to say. That's all I need to say right here about the Shedeur Sanders situation. I'm not going to talk about him no more this year because I feel like at the end of the day, and I'm going to say this right here before I get off, I can see out of these eyes, I can see Deshaun Watson being the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And I'm going to tell y'all why. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm sitting back at home right now and I'm thinking to myself, I can beat out both of these quarterbacks. I can beat out both of these quarterbacks. Neither one of these quarterbacks right here is really, I don't think is better than me, one. And two, I don't think neither one of these quarterbacks is more effective in affecting his team than me. I'm not saying it's true, but I'm just saying what I think he is probably thinking. And if I'm him, what I would be thinking. Because what did you watch this season? You watched two quarterbacks that pretty much honestly, I think they played Shedeur Sanders more than they played Dylan Gabriel, not because he was better. I think it was because of the fans' cry. And Kevin Stefanski, I think that he was threw into it by, I think, the GM, who I think is a horrible GM. He one of the worst GMs in the NFL. And everybody want to say, oh, he's a black man. Why is you bashing a black man? I don't care what your race is. I don't care what nobody's race is when I go for sports. I don't care about your race when I'm going for sports. Because it's the same thing I'll say about this race, the same thing I will say about this race. The people that's racist or the people that care about all that race things, they are the one that need to take a look in the mirror sometime, because it blows my mind that you all hate LeBron James, who's a black man, but then y'all want to be like, why am I going against Shedeur Sanders, who's a black man? The same way you going against LeBron as a black man. It's easy. I'm not a fan of his. I'm a fan of LeBron. So what? Exactly. Y'all don't have nothing to say about that because it's sit back and y'all be like, oh yeah, you want to bash this guy because this right here have nothing to do with race. Deshaun Watson is a black man, and I'm a big Deshaun Watson fan. And that's what I'm saying. I think Deshaun Watson is sitting back at home thinking to himself, I think that I can beat out both of these guys. I did not see nothing from these two quarterbacks this season that makes me think that they can beat me out. And I'm gonna be real with you, and y'all can disagree. But I agree with him. I agree with him. I did not see nothing from neither one of these quarterbacks that can tell me, and even though Deshaun Watson has some down years, but I still think he's better than these two guys. But hey, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. And thank y'all again for staying up late with me with the Winner Circle Podcast Nightcap Edition. Hey, until next time, man, y'all have a great weekend. A great week, rest of your week. Be safe out here. And then listen, y'all, I'm not hating on Shedeur Sanders, but you have to call it what it is. For the people that saying that this grade, 1,200 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, that's a B. You might you need to go back to school and talk to a teacher and ask them how to properly grade a quarterback, how to properly grade a paper, because you probably was getting failing grades and you was thinking that you was getting a C when in reality it was a damn F or a D. Because ain't no way you're gonna tell me that those grades there is a B or a C. No. If you have more touchdowns, if you have more interceptions than touchdowns, that's automatically got to be a failing grade. That's automatically have to be at least a D. And in today's world, a D is passing. Well, a D was passing back then, but it's a D. It's passing grade. It's good. So it's nothing wrong with progression. If he gets better next season, guess what? He'll get a better grade. But this season here, I have to give him a D minus, and I give Dylan Gabriel a C plus. And the reason why is because when you look at the stats, one stats was just better than the other one. Not saying that, and I think that honestly, the last two games of the season, I think that Dylan Gabriel would have won those games too. Because if you think about it, the game that he got hurt, they was actually winning the game. They was up. When Shedeur Sanders came into the game, they had a lead. Dylan Gabriel had got them a lead. And what happened was Shedeur Sanders came in and could not move the ball, could not do nothing right. That was the game that everybody was crying and said, man, you just threw him into the fire. What you expect when somebody get hurt? But they was winning the game. And then when Shedeur Sanders came in, he could not get the ball moving. And then they ended up losing that game. So honestly, I think that Dylan Gabriel would have did the same thing. Honestly, I think these two quarterbacks are more closer than y'all think. I think these right here quarterbacks are damn near on the same level. I don't think neither one of them, because I think Dylan Gabriel can run better. I think Dylan Gabriel is a better runner than Shedeur Sanders, but I think Shedeur Sanders is a better passer than him. But when I look at both of them, I think that Dylan Gabriel, if you give him the proper offensive line and the weapons, just like you give Shedeur Sanders, I think both of them will be very capable starting quarterbacks. That's what I think. But hey, man, like I said before, I thank y'all again for staying up with me. Until next time, y'all have a great, great, great night, man. Peace.
Mr. Diggs, we're on in 5. Vegas can't be choosers, but grandma chose Trace. She raised me on scraps.